what's going on, everybody? I wanted to go over all of the Genesis stuff that happened this past weekend because there is quite a bit. There was the remote Duel YCS that took place, and then there was two new blog posts that happened. And I don't see a lot of people covering these type of content between the deck profiles of the past weekend for Genesis and as well as the blog post. So I'm going to do both of these together, just a bit of a catch up if you missed what happened this weekend. This will be a good way to do it. So I'm going to go through all the first place deck lists that are available, and then I want to talk about the blog post that they said, because that also talks about the future of Genesis. So we have pretty much the current of Genesis and then what to expect in the future of Genesis later on in the video. So if you enjoy, please subscribe, and yeah, let's go ahead and just start talking about this stuff. So we are going to go over the Genesis flights that happened. There was, I believe, 8 flights. Not every deck list is available of the winners, but I'm just going to go what is available on here. So as you can see, we have the first flight winner, and this was Doomz, Automat Doomz specifically. Obviously abusing the Automat cards. Very, very good. Most of this is you're going to see draw everywhere. It's going to be a standard. Nib is getting pretty popular. I'm trying to get my gauge on Droplet because I also play Droplet and I really like the card. I'm seeing how other decks really like it, but I'm also really happy to see Doomz see success as well, even though it's in Automat. I really like Doomz to see it work. It's almost like a Towers deck, but like not really. It's kind of weird, but it's cool how it works. It's different. It's definitely different, and I think it deserves some kind of representation. So yeah, as you can see, we've got the Medius de Pure, the normal Doomz spells. The only equip spell he's playing is the what's it called? The normal command one, and then we have the Armor XYZ package and the Unbreakable XYZ. I really feel like these are probably going to get hit eventually, just because I feel like they're abused in so many different things. Going to the extra deck, he chose to play 20 points for Zeus, which is a huge swing card, as well as Exciton Knight. Can make a huge board. It's very scary. Like I said. Going forward, Spring-ins was a Regulus as well. These all 0 points. Oh my god. Really important to know. That's crazy, actually. 0 point engine there between Spring-ins into Sargas into Regulus. Really good to know. Kaijus, Ghost Ogres. I'm curious how these did for him, because Ghost Ogres for me, I never felt like we're that strong, but maybe in certain matchups it can come up. But for me personally, never came up. Ruler, D-Fissure, I hope this gets hit with points because it's just a floodgate card. But this is definitely for going first, obviously, but being able to stop draw with Dimensional Fissure in this deck is like absolutely crazy, and the Automat cards don't care because they're Exceed materials, so they'll still go to graveyard and trigger even with D-Fissure on the field while playing around draw. I saw Twin Twister a lot this past weekend as well, so this is definitely gaining popularity as a card to be able to take advantage of being able to use in the draw phase, discarding flexibilities and stuff like that, taking out 2 back row instead of 1. And then we have the Doomz Trap card, which is essentially a Mistake, and then the Tachyon Transmigration, which I believe is searchable off the Dragon, if I remember right. This is a rank 4 search for a counter trap, so just another way to do it that isn't just Gaga Gaga Girl as well as XYZ Barrier. So congrats to him on that deck. We have the second pod. This is Madolche. We do not have the deck list though. Madolche Vernisylph. I thought Nick won a pod. It may have been his. I don't know if this is correct or not. Next up, we have the third pod. This is the one I lost to Pearly Naturia. Terrifying deck. Cooked me completely. Next, we have Testina. We do have this deck. So we have Testina Pile. This is a deck that I actually think like thrives in Genesis very well. It's like not strong enough to be in TCG, but is just strong enough to be in Genesis. And with a good pilot and a good deck builder, I really think this deck can shine. And as you can see, it's not doing a lot. You're able to just OTK very easily with this deck, especially with the inclusion of Hound, being able to attack through your opponent's monsters while threatening Crystal God. The field spell being so good and make your going second place very very powerful and hard to deal with. Like even if you MST this card, it still gets out the Crystal God, which is crazy. Chaotic Elements, free Searcher to be able to get the the Miasma Dragon. Just a lot of good stuff. I think you can get Demigod too. The card's very good. Another deck with Ghost Ogre. I think we're seeing some, consistencies here with some of these hand traps. Chose to play 20 points for Verugis and 20 points for for Zeus. So you're seeing a lot of points in the extra deck, but also choosing to play Droplet as well. We have the Testina Trap card. Yeah, very interesting. Over here, we do see the Melody to be able to do damage with the level 3s. This is like a good damage push to be able to do 3,000 damage with itself. Let's see, we have the Armor Torpedo package, Exciton Knight. I think this card should be pointed. This is just like a very big swing card, and I think it's going to be more and more of a problem as kind of the format just keeps developing. Let's see, anything else worth noting here? Not particularly in the main deck. In the side deck, we do have 3 copies of Lancia, which I think is crazy. Lancia is not seeing a lot of play in Genesis format, so I'm actually curious what their reasoning was for Lancia, right? Because if it's like Automat, Draco Tail, Radiant Typhoon. I don't think Lancia is really affecting those decks specifically, so I'm really curious why they're choosing to play Lancia. Next up, we have Gorgon Slicer. This is like a, what's it called? Like an Ultimate Slayer type card, right? Start your man phase 1, target any number of face-up cards in the field, return a card, banish one card from your hand, or switch from your extra deck face down with those cards. Oh, okay. This is like Ultimate Slayer 2. Ironically, they're choosing not to play Ultimate Slayer and just playing this over it, which is very interesting. I wonder how this card, wow, I would love to talk to this person just to get some feedback on a few of these choices, because I don't see this card get played a lot. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about this card. So seeing it get play, and also, especially in a winning deck list, makes me happy. Even Soul Release too, being able to banish cards from the graveyard. Like, I'm really curious of what a lot of these are for specifically. Like what matchups they were worried about. Shared Ride, I think, is a great choice. This is like the opposite of Mistaken Arrest. Rather than stopping them from searching, every time they search or add back from grave, you draw a card. It's kind of like a spell card max C. It's been deemed a little bit fair because you can do it going, what's it called? You can't do it going second, so it's been a more fair version, but we'll see how much that holds up. Also choosing to play Blizzard. Blizzard was really good. It's just like Draco Tail Flame, but you can do it going second, which is very nice. And then 2 Magic Deflectors. I think this card might need to get pointed as well. It says for the rest of this turn, which is not a fun phrase. It could just shut down a lot of strategies. But we'll see how the future holds. So yeah, that is that deck list for the pod. This is my pod. I already have my profile on my channel. Just very quickly, if you want to see what I played, Radiant Typhoon. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. If you want to see the reasonings and stuff, feel free to ask me questions in the comments or watch the previous video for that. Next up, Joseph Rothschild. I have no idea who that is. Fire King we have here. This actually was interesting to me because in my Fire King list, I was playing 2 Ulcanix, 3 Ponix, and 3 Kieran. I'm happy that he also chose to play 3 Kieran because this is definitely like it's like the, what's it called? Vanquish Soul, Holly Sue of the deck. You can completely steal games with this card. It's very, it's ridiculous when it does do that. So I think it's totally worth playing 3. This is also your long game. This is the most frustrating card for opponents to deal with. So I think this is definitely the 3 of option. It's just getting your consistency past that. And Droll is such a menace with this deck too. Especially because I can see he's playing 7th Ascension and 7th Tachyon all to get into Ulcanix, which, you get trolled on any of these. It's rough. So hopefully, clearly it didn't affect them too much. You might have just gotten lucky avoiding this card or being able to set something up, whether it be the Megalo, because, Megalo Kieran being able to set up the Astro in the graveyard to be able to nuke your opponent's board. Very, really good. Like, really, really good. So I'm happy to see that. Also, seeing a lot of players choose to play Final Bringer of End Times. This is a very interesting card that I'm happy to see a lot of cards play. This card didn't see the light of day in TCG. It was talked about, but no one really ever brought it to events and things like that. So I'm happy to see it maybe possibly find a home in Genesis because this is like 0 cost, generic, a non-engine that can do, I think, a lot, which is very neat. So I'm happy to see this here. Also choosing to play DD Crow. It's weird. DD Crow is either really good or really bad, but in all honesty, the fact that this deck can have, 3, 5, 8, 11 hand traps, maybe 14 if you're including Kieran, which is very nice. Then you could also side into, the Kaijus you have here. Ultimate Slayers, great choice. Twin Twisters, again, we're seeing this more and more. Dark Ruler seems to be very, very popular. We also see the Tachyon card, but this time being searched out with the Divine Golden Shadow Dragon, which I still think this card's going to get hit on a ban list. Or, on a Genesis Point update, because this card is, really, really strong. He's also choosing to play the Giant Trainer. I'm really curious of how many times he chose to draw 3 off this card, or if he even chose to make it, which is interesting. This is like a Floodgate from the graveyard. Very, very good. Dingirsu, non-target send. Yeah, this is just like a very solid, Fire King deck, to be honest. This is just clean, very clean with the hand trap lineup. Obviously, this can change depending on the point adjustments, but yeah, or how the format develops as well. Kaijus have to be in here. Exotonite again. I'm trying to get some common themes to get an understanding of what people are playing as well. So seeing Exotonite in every deck that can make a rank 4 is getting concerning, and that has to be on their radar of the fact that it's there in so many of these decks, right? Super Quant, we do not have the deck list for. Draco Tail, we do have the deck list for Draco Tail. So as you can see, we have one of each of the traps. Now there is many ways to do the lineup of the Draco Tail cards, and this player chose to do 3 Malulu, which is interesting. Usually you don't see that. I do agree with 3 Pan, 3 Urgula. That seems crazy, on paper, but when you're in a game and half the time you go second, the minute you resolve any fusion, these cards are insane and they break the board so easily. So that's probably why you chose to do 3 Malulu too, because you're maxing out on all the Draco Tail names that are amazing going second, whether you have a negate, a pop, or a pop. This is just really, really strong to fuse with. one copy of the First Skull, and then only the one copy of 5 mana, which is fine. You can search it with the card that you're prioritizing, which this player is clearly prioritizing Ketu Draco Tail, which again, also a great card going first, but an even better card going second. Rahu, of course, 3. We're also choosing to play the Crowley package, being able to be Alistair and then being able to special itself out, which is very nice. I'm not like sold on this package. It's also not even like a full package, to be honest. But I think there's like other synergistic cards with this, not by itself. Because, what is it? It can be used as Alistair. If it's added to your hand, except by drawing, you can special summon it. And then if it's normal or special summoned, you can fusion summon an invoked or a Magistus from your extra deck. So he is choosing to play this card, which is a Magistus monster plus a fusion, exceed, synchro, or link. So I think what he's doing is adding this back off Arthalion, add it to your hand except by drawing it. Yep, and then specialing it, and then on summon fusing, using the Arthalion plus this to go into this. And then what this does is you can target one face up, you can target one effect monster in your graveyard or your opponent controls, equip it as an equip card. So you can just steal something for free. When a monster and effect is activated, quick effect, you can send one face up Magistus monster you control to the graveyard, negate the effect, and destroy one card your opponent controls. Oh, okay, this is actually really good. I'm actually, you know what? I'm surprised this isn't played more. Because I think you can play 3 of this. Fuse this away for an Arthalion, bring it back, special it, and then you use this effect to equip the Magistus guy back to it. And then when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can send away the Magistus equip card, because it says Magistus monster card. That includes cards that are equipped in the back row, to the graveyard to negate it, and then you get a free pop as well. It's really, really good. Great innovation from this player, to be honest. Shout outs to him. Where is his name? Geno Torrento. Very, very good innovation. I think that's this might actually pick up steam depending on how hit Draco Tail gets hit in the future. But other than that really cool innovation, we have the Shit All Beast for the draw package. Choosing to play King of the Swamp, I like that a lot. It's more monsters and more ways to fuse without using your normal summon, of course. Then he's playing 3 Droll, 3 Crow, and 6 Kaijus. Or 3 Kaijus, oh my god. Side deck, choosing to play Shit All Fusion package with the Ariel and the Dragon. That is fine. You could also play Genius to be able to negate something on the field. Surprised you didn't see that, but he's also playing the 1 copy of Santa Claus. I wonder if this is searchable somehow. It's probably something along the lines of sending it with Shit All Fusion to make Construct and adding it back with Arthalion, if I had to guess. That is just my complete shot in the dark of being able to add this back, but you know, this could also probably just be another Lightning Kaiju if you wanted it to. So, yeah, maybe if it's like, you know what it is? It's probably if there's double Liger Dancer, and they can't do 2 Kaijus, so you can send, if you draw 1, you can send the other one, and then be able to out both Liger Dancers with an Arthalion, adding them both back to the hand, and you can just win the game from there. That's honestly probably what it is, so that makes the most sense. And of course, we have Ultimate Slayer again. This player chose to play Cosmic Cyclone over Twin Twister, which is kind of interesting. This is not that popular, actually, but I do see some players play it from time to time. But this deck also needs hand advantage, so it makes sense you don't want to play Twin Twister and Mistaken Arrest. Again, this card is seeing a lot of play, and I think it's going to be continue to be popular in the format because every deck just searches regardless. So until this card is hit on points, it's probably going to be popular, forever. Yeah, very, very good deck list. I like this a lot. I really like to see this Crowley, this Crowley intervention in Genesis. That's awesome. 0 point to be able to do that. So we're probably going to continue to see that. Next up, we have Vanquish Soul. We do have the list for Vanquish Soul. Let's see. Whoa, what do we have here? Okay, 3 Dolgaron, that makes sense. This deck needs fires, and this player chose to play 3 copies of Dolgaron, of course. Link Apple. You can reveal, I actually don't know what this does. You can reveal this card in your hand, banish face up 1 random face down card in your extra deck, then special summon this card. Special summon this card if the banished card was a Link monster. Otherwise, discard this card, and if you do, draw a card. So this player does not care about their extra deck, and this is just a fire Upstart Goblin. This is a 10 out of 10 innovation in this deck. This is the stuff I'm talking about when I say that, like, I wish Genesis content was more explored, because there is really good innovation in this format that's happening. And not a lot of the big content creators are covering it. They're only covering the overall Genesis format and the forms that Konami is making. They're not going into the nitty-gritty of what these players are coming up with. This is awesome. This is a great fire monster that is an Upstart Goblin at its worst, and a fire monster that is able to be revealed off all your Vanquish Soul names. This is an excellent card, because I was really shocked because I saw a link in the name, and we're in Genesis format, right? So, you're not going to be linking a lot. So this is really awesome to see, and I'm happy that this worked out for this player to be able to win one of the pods with it. We're also playing 2 of the Dark Kaijus, Radions. We got 5 Kaijus in here. We were never losing the Lunalite. Never. We also have the Regenesis package, which is great in this deck. You know, you can Borger being the 2500 attack beater, and I think he is... No, okay. Yeah, Borger. Just Borger being 2500, but still fine. Easily searchable with the 3 copies of Ryzen, Stake Your Soul, 7 Tachyon, all to get the Ryzen, which get the Borger, which then turn on your Regenesis package to be able to get into your negate or your bounce. Very, very strong. Obviously, the Vanquish Soul cards are still really good. The only way that this deck is hit is consistency-wise, because that's why Holisu has to be at 1, because this card is just insane. It's just a ridiculous card. So, you know, they hit the consistency of it, but overall, this deck is still really good. And this is what I was talking about. Vanquish Soul just needed time to be able to come out of the woodwork and come back into the format. As you can see here as well, they're also opting to play 2 Jiaolong and the Puton. So, you know, they're exploring more fire monsters that they can play, as well as, you know, even within their own archetype, being able to play the bad Vanquish Soul monster. But at the end of the day, it is still a name that can special summon itself, which is, you know, important in itself. And then, of course, we have the extra deck. They are doing Ultimate Slayer stuff, as you can see here. I wonder why they are playing this. You can banish this card from your graveyard. All monsters your opponent controls lose attack equal to their defense. This... Can you activate Ultimate Slayer on a Liger Dancer? Is that legal? I think you might be able to, because I think you can activate a Dark... Like, I think you can activate Dark Ruler and stuff. So, if you can activate Ultimate Slayer on a Liger Dancer... if this is legal, you can send this to the graveyard, and then you can use this effect in the graveyard to banish it, and all the Liger Dancers lose attack equal to their own defense, which I think puts them to 400 attack, because the Liger's defense, I think, is 32, and the attack is 36, I believe. So you can just beat over them with, like, any monsters at all. Again, this is what, like I can't stress enough the innovations here. I always make sure to show these names too of people who are coming up with these strategies, because this is something that I think you're going to see. I wish I thought of this. I wish I did, to be able to out these Liger Dancers better. This is an excellent choice to be able to do it again if that is legal. So they're really good to see. Obviously, you have the Ghoulmel and stuff in here. Wait, why is Ghoulmel in here? Why are all these in here? I'm actually curious of why these are all in here, because he doesn't have any fusion cards to be able to make them. So I'm really curious of why these 2 are in here, because they don't have any effects in the graveyard, I don't think. No, this doesn't, and this doesn't. Maybe bonus Link Apple stuff to hit it with Link Apple, maybe. I'm not sure, to be honest. But if he oh my god. I just completely ignored Reaper, which is even funnier because I mentioned Ghost Reaper to Nick the day before, and we chose not to play it. But very good choice here to play Ghost Reaper. You hit the big decks, hitting this in Lunalite. I mean, even not even hitting this in Lunalite. I would rather rip Liger Dancers, to be honest. But this is still a really good card to hit in that deck, and then also being able to rip the Ghoulmel so that they're ending on a lot less interruptions and actual Draco Tail cards in their deck, which they run out very quickly, because like 3 out of the 4 cards that fusion in Draco Tail need to summon Draco Tail monsters, and then hitting Archmage, removing the fusion so that all of the cards can't just easily fusion into this, and it can turn off a lot of their starters because they need the Owl to fuse into this to be able to keep going a lot of the time. So this could just turn that off completely, which is really cool. I don't think there's any other major Reaper targets in here. No other major Reaper targets, but we are playing Typhoon in here, which I think is a first for this. Typhoon's not really seeing a lot of play, so it's kind of interesting. Again, a lot of great innovation in this deck. I really like this. We're also siding the Dragon to go with the Regenesis package. Vados has a good dark hand trap. Obviously, Ghost Reaper being dark as well helps with the actual Vanquish Soul names. And then we're also playing Spell card Soul Exchange. This card is crazy. I don't know if this outs Liger. I don't think it does. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you cannot out Liger with this card. I think this does affect the card much like Stormforth. I believe that's how it's ruled. But this card as a board breaker is still really good because it doesn't eat your normal summon. It gives you an additional normal summon. So you can still tribute out for something like either Caesar or Borger or your Regenesis monsters. Like, you have so many options for this. To just be able to clear 2 cards if a spell card resolves is really good. And of course, once again, we have Ultimate Slayer. This card really needs to get hit. In my opinion. So, yeah, that's it for the Vanquish Soul deck. Sorry that took so long on this one, but it was really interesting, and I hope you guys thought it was interesting too, because this is crazy to me. Last up, we have the actual Giant card. Again, I was the winner of the Giant card, so I'm not going to go over my own deck list, but I do have the Second Night Gem Knight deck and the 3rd place Radiant Typhoon Runic deck, so we are going to go over both of those. So here is the Gem Knight deck that got second. This was Stevie Stevie Blunder. We have Nephrom, 2 copies of Hollow Core, 2 Gem Armadillo, 3 Quartz, Shaddoll Dragon, and Genius. Being able to play, I mean, this is crazy. Being able to play 3 Herald, 3 Perulia, 3 Nib, and then 6 Shufflers is wild. Ridiculous engine. The fact that Herald is 0 points is really scary. If you've been keeping up with the channel, you've seen Nick Ma's deck profiles on Dolce. Herald of Orange Light is a beast card. This card can single-handedly win games. Going first or second, this card is always good to have in your hand. Obviously, as long as it's live. But yeah, these cards are still powerful as hell too. Scatter Fusion and Brilliant Fusion, if you can get them to resolve. Being able to get to them quite easily with Quartz is very nice. This is a blind going second strategy, obviously. So your opponent's going to have a monster 9 times out of 10. Having Shaddoll Fusion 2 to punish people for going into their engine is very nice too. You have a lot of good going on here. I believe Stevie also made a video on this deck. If you want more explanations, you can go check out his channel for that. I'm also not a Gem Knight expert by any means, but I know that this deck does have problems without the Link monster. That Link monster solves a lot of problems in this deck, obviously, as Links are just broken. But I know he mentioned in that video that sometimes you just have Gem Knight bodies that you can't do a lot with, so you just end up doing the poly effect of dispersion sometimes to clear them. So very, very good, knowledgeable stuff on this deck. As you can see in the extra deck, nothing really worth mentioning. The Adding Mr. Dragon is a good generic rank 4 to keep track of. Tornado, Giant Hand, very good choices. We have Ultimate Slayer targets, again, very consistent. Twin Twister, Mistaken Arrest, same cards. We are seeing, again, the Final Bringer of the End Times. Happy to see this card. TD Crow, once again, is another hand trap to possibly interrupt a lot of opponents. So very, very good stuff here. Congratulations to Stevie. And then last up, we have Radiant Typhoon, who got 3rd at the event. I really wish we had Eddie's deck on here as well. Eddie Strom got 4th on this one. I really wanted to see his deck list as well. But here is the 3rd place deck list. We have Radiant Typhoon, Runic Onomat here. So this is really cool, and I've said this to a lot of people, and some people still don't even know about this line, and it's shocking to me. Again, this is why I think the Radiant Typhoon cards, the level 3s, need to get hit, because you can go special any of the Radiant Typhoon or use Chant to be able to get 2 level 3s without normal summon, overlay them for the Gabunga, which I didn't even look was in here, I just figured it was in here. Use Gabunga to be able to search the 1 of Go 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 Goblinberg, because you don't want to break on normal summons, you can just play 1 of it, and then normal summon it, be able to special summon out the Ame Kotage, be able to overlay, go into your Gaga Gaga Girl, more than likely, use the effect to search, get your Dodo Dodo Warrior and your Gaga Gaga Zubababa, whatever his face is, special, make more rank 4s, make a huge M board, have, you're playing Runic cards and Radiant Typhoon, those are also gaining you advantage. I'm assuming, you're just never doing Croatia or Makala before you do all this, obviously, because you're win locked. Other than that, this deck is pretty straightforward. The 1 pot of greed really surprises me. Usually this is a 3 of, just putting this as a random stack you 1 of just seems so off to me. I feel like I would rather put more, in my opinion, personally, if I was doing this, I would put better cards in my side deck. I think that I would rather have this be 2 Ash Blossom for Draco Tail to hit Rahu. I think that would make more sense in my head. But because it's more diverse, right? You're going to see 2 Ash Blossoms more. It's a counter to a strategy, not just kind of do what you're already doing just a little bit better. This is a 44 card deck. Do I have to use 30 points for this? I don't know. Probably not in my opinion. But again, he still did well with the deck. That's just my opinion on it. Playing Dugaras as well. 10 points into that. Did normal Radiant Typhoon exceed monsters. Again, Exciton Knight is in here. Costello, Giant Hand, Utopia. Oh, wow, Utopia Lightning. I haven't seen this in a while. I wonder if there was a specific reason he played this one. This card is busted. This card should probably be worth points. It's just a worse version of Draco Future, but Draco Future is still a crazy card. So it's being a little bit worse than Draco Future isn't really saying much, but preventing targeting from everywhere on the field is crazy, and it counters Radiant Typhoon so well, being able to MST your own they can't MST their own stuff to keep it going. So it punishes a lot of strategies for when you're playing this deck. So it's crazy how good this card is. Again, we see the White Dragon adding Nister, Gaga Girl, and Magician. Side deck, we have the Crows again, Vidos Nib for hand traps, Gamma Seals as Kaijus, XYZ Encore. I haven't seen this card in a lot of strategies actually. I'm surprised this is in here. It makes me wonder why. There is probably, if I'm being honest, let me think about this. You can probably, if your opponent is doing something cheeky and they Veiler or right? You can target your own stuff, right? Oh no, XYZ your opponent goes. Never mind. I guess it's just for breaking automat boards. It's the only thing I can think of, or like even maybe Radiant Typhoon boards where they end on like Totem Bird, but like just a 1-for-1 trade. I don't know if this is worth it for me as of now, at least. But maybe I don't know. I want to. I would love to ask him why he was playing the XYZ Encores. What was the purpose of it? And he's actually choosing to side the Unbreakable Exceed Barrier. I guess your end board is going to be good enough going first. We don't need to main deck it, but I see most people main decking this card because it's searchable through Gaga 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 Girl, which is going to be most likely hit on the points adjustment because this being, again, they do not like counter traps that seem to be searchable that are generically very, very strong. That seems to be the direction that they're going with the format. So this is probably going to follow suit as just one that they missed. So with all of that being said, that is all of the deck lists for the Remote Duel YCS. A lot of good innovation here. If anybody can get more of these deck lists, feel free to link them down below. It'd be awesome if they have profiles. I don't know. So yeah, any of these deck lists I would appreciate. There's so many on here that we missed. I think there was like 3 or 4 that did not have profiles and weren't on here because I want to see more innovation and stuff like that. Again, some of these deck lists really impressed me. Where was it? The Vanquish Soul deck really impressed me. This Draco Tail deck really impressed me with the Crowley. Very, very good cards. Like I said, I'm freeballing this too. Like I'm not like, I didn't like study these deck lists beforehand or anything. So being able to, look at these deck lists and kind of just free ball, figure out why they're good, what they were playing, is, obviously I don't know any better than a lot of these people. I'm just learning like they are, and they came up with great innovations. That's all I can go by. I can see my face is covering some of these, what's it called, cards now too, but you should be able to get the gist of the decks too. Now that we're through all of the Remote Duel decks, I am going to go on to the blog post. So, as you can see, we had 2 new blog posts, December 8th and December 9th. They made 2 in a row, which is crazy. So, we're going to read through both of them to get an idea of in Konami's head, what the future for Genesis holds, and what they're talking about. And so let's go ahead and jump into that. So, Genesis at YCS Bologna. YCS Bologna was our first chance to see how European duelists tackled Genesis. Today we're talking about the differences in Europe. So first qualifiers, invitational compared to YCS Pittsburgh. The Bologna qualifiers were run a little bit differently than they were at the NA and LATAM YCS events. In Bologna, qualifiers were held on Friday before the event began, which is very interesting. And I have been saying this forever. YCSs should always have side events on Friday. They already have the venue. All the staff is usually already there, or they have enough staff to be running some side events. Even if it's a small number, all the players are there because you have to check in anyway. You should just be running side events. And I'm not even, like, that is just free money to Konami, because especially a lot of these people are already there. Like, unless they just don't want to pay the staff of judges, because I know there's sometimes your judges are scheduled for only Saturday, Sunday, or your Friday, Saturday. That's the only thing I can think of is that they don't want to do that. But I don't know why you wouldn't, because all the players are there. So like, it just seems like a way to make money. Maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I could be. I'm not a business person, so this is something that I want to throw out there. But I really wish that happened on Fridays. So strong duelists that normally would be competing in the main event all day Saturday had a chance to qualify and have a tournament to fall back on for Sunday if they failed to make it through day 1. As such, the format of the invitational qualifiers was shifted as well from single elimination to essentially double elimination Swiss. You still needed to win 3 to get in, but it was win 3 out of 4 instead of win 3 in a row, which is very interesting because at Pittsburgh it was just a 16-man single elimination pod. Over here, it was pretty much a double elimination pod of 4 rounds. So if you lose once, you can still keep playing and get your invite to the Genesis Invitational, which I think is really, really cool. This could have resulted in an invitational with over 64 players, but it was done to take into account the possibility of many qualifiers not showing up on Sunday due to still being in the main event. Indeed, there were duelists who qualified on Friday and that performed extremely well in the main event, leading to them skipping the invitational. Of course, it's a tough choice, and I know some people aren't going to like that. But again, this is the pre-Genesis official stuff, so they're still trying to tweak out any problems and things of that nature. So you have to give them the benefit of the doubt of trying to figure out the best way to do these things. It does suck being a player. Like, let's say you made the Genesis qualifier, and then you also made day 2 of the YCS. Like, that's rough, buddy. Like, that sucks. The fact that you have to now pick which tournament you want to play in. But hey, it's just the way it was ran. Differences in deck selection. Why do we bring that up? Because being able to lose 1 and still qualify does change the equation a bit on what sort of decks you can qualify for with. 4 decks that never qualified before: Infernoble Knights, Unchained Archfiend, which is a very interesting deck. I really want to make Infernoble Knight work in Genesis better than I already can. I feel like I can, but I want to play this deck more. Heraldic Beast and Lunalite made the field in Bologna. Lunalite is the deck that specifically been considered strong and difficult to fight against in once it gets going, but it has struggled mightily in straight single elimination events because, Lunalite is a very top-heavy deck. At the minute you get to Liger Dancer, if you just out it or you get hand-trapped and you can't make it, it's over. There's really no in between. It's either you make Liger Dancer or you lose. And then sometimes, even when you make Liger Dancer, they just have the out and, they drew a Kaiju or they drew 2 Kaijus. It can happen. Under the modified qualifying rules, 4 Lunalite duelists made it in. 3 of them were one and dones in the Invitational, but the 4th went all the way and won the tournament. So congratulations to the Lunalite player who did win the Invitational over in Europe. Something to think about as we move forward in that current Invitational format is going to be retired in the new year and replaced with the same format used in the YCS events as Genesis moves out of early access and gets plugged into our standard tournament systems. This is what the affect tournament viability or lack thereof of certain decks and will be taking into account moving forward. This is really interesting to me because I don't exactly know what they mean. I don't know if this is going to be like better side events for Genesis. They're going to shift how they're going to be working, or if it's going to be for things like the way that they used to run, Time Wizard, or if it's going to be, they're referring to main event YCS events, and it's going to be, you have to submit a deck list online, you have to check in on Friday, it's going to be the main event. I can interpret this in multiple different ways, and I would love some elaboration on that, but I think they're going, I know they mentioned YCS main events being Genesis in 2026, so I'm thinking this is what they're talking about, and I'm really curious to see how that goes, because this has been a complaint for a lot of people over the years, is that stuff like alternate formats in Yu-Gi-Oh!, they never really get a spotlight at these events, right? It's always YCS standard, and then the side events are always the other formats, all of the other Time Wizard events and things like that. So Genesis having, hopefully, which I'm assuming is going to happen, YCS events that are Genesis main events is going to be awesome to see, and it's actually the first time I think they're doing that. Other than being like, if you're counting like the 3v3 format, which is still just standard essentially. So point is, I'm really excited for this, and this could be interpreted in different ways, but I'm excited to see how it goes. Any extreme outliers? The most groups, the deck that had lost the most ground was Art Mage, which is interesting because Art Mage was really popular here, which is Sheriff from Anaheim to Pittsburgh, then dropped heavily off in Bologna. Instead, 2 decks to reach outlier status, more than double up, showing in Lunalite, the Invitational, Draco Tail, and Radiant Typhoon Runic. I'm surprised it's specifically Runic. I thought the pure version would be doing much better. I really don't see other pure versions. It's crazy to me. I feel like I am the only human playing the pure version. It's driving me insane. I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts. This deck I don't like because it feels the same every game. Like nothing is changing. You're always just like Pot of Greed, Mirage, Field Spell, Radiant Typhoon, Radiant Typhoon, Radiant Typhoon, like very quickly, boom, like that's your board. And like it's kind of like Lunalite, just with like extra steps, if that makes sense. Like nothing changes. You can kind of make that argument for like most decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, but like when you're not playing like any like real non-engine and you're just playing Pot of Greeds, I'm not like a fan of it. It's just like, I don't know. It's like too simple. Like I'm a deck builder at heart, and I feel like that deck building was solved in like 5 seconds, and then that was it. Like it was over. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this type of strategy, but that's just for me. Draco Tail operates as a high power. Okay, I don't need to read all this. So this is just explaining to me how Draco Tail works. I really don't need to discuss this too much. The only thing I will say is that in particular, Draco Tail Flame is so strong that it is escaped containment and become a generic card used in many decks, especially side decks. Again, generic spell and trap negate I think is good enough to play in in side decks, of course, and they are noticing that. Unlike the standard Radiant Typhoon decks, again, they're just telling you how the deck works. I'm just going to skip this part because nothing here. We think it's fine to have a deck, the format that's analogous with the old Needleworm deck out decks, which is cool. But this particular combination where you get to play 2 entire decks that are individually good enough to win on their own at the same time has become so widespread that neither the main engine will be completely free after the next update, which is very interesting. And again, if you know me, I love Runic. It's one of my favorite decks of all time. Imagine an archetype being so good that they cut the cards in half, they removed half the effects on each Runic card, and they are still too good for the format. Awesome to see. Gotta love to see it. So they're both of these will be hit in the next format. It'll be Radiant Typhoon and Runic are both going to be receiving some points. Again, I'm really hoping it's the level 3 Radiant Typhoons. I think that's really the right way to do it. Or Chant, either any of those. Any extreme usage outliers. In Pittsburgh, there was only one card that was used in 30% more of decks, and it was Droll and Lockbird. And anyone who's playing in Genesis knows this is the card. Ridiculous numbers on this card. 54% of all possible copies of it were registered in the qualifiers. Though we should note that the number treats players who went through multiple qualifiers with the same deck as a unique player each time. That's fine. It doesn't matter. It's everywhere. It's rampant. Looking at how many copies were in the Invitational itself, where the players were actually unique, 63% of all possible copies were played. That's insane. That is an insane number for a deck that where the broad spectrum of decks is so wide. To have 63% of players in that have Duel Opera in their deck is ridiculous. That is so high. It may sound low if you're looking at a Master Duel Advanced format, but for Genesis, where the cost is including on it, that's a ton. Yes, absolutely. Speaking as one person in the Genesis team, I consider anything over 33 for a generic counter or for a generic card to be an outlier, and take a look into whether it's because it's specifically countering a deck trend or because it's outperforming its salary. For Droll, the answer is probably both, which makes the Bologna Invitational number shocking. Only 35% of the maximum number were registered. It's interesting that Europe decided to not play as much Droll and Lockbird as NA. It's really shocking to me. But they are obviously playing different decks over there, but even Winnnig suffers from Droll and Lockbird as well. So I am shocked that it's not seeing more play over there. Maybe just a different deck building choice. It was also their first event with Genesis. We've had a little bit more here in the States with Genesis, so everything's different. All the formats are different. Europeans also play differently. We've known this for years. Which advanced format forbidden cards were popular? There were only 4 advanced format cards that were forbidden used in the Invitational. 2 players decided to use Pot of Greed and Mirage of Nightmare. I wonder what deck that was. 1 player opted to play a pair of Heavy Storms, and 1 player chose to play 86 Heroic Champion Rongo. This card can die in hell. I hate this card. Get it out of here. This card is not fun. Konami, look at this card and tell me what fun interactive gameplay this is going to make for the format. It is 0. Get it out of here. 100 points. Gone. I don't want to see it ever again. If you are only fully committing to this card, get it out of here. I hate it. When is the next update? We are planning to line it up with the release of Phantom Revenge, as there are some cards that proactively attack the main extra deck. We're going to take the NA release delay. Opportunity to take some extra time for what to expect article, which is good. I'm happy they're taking extra time to really choose which card they're going to be shooting for to take down. So the 15th is looking to be what the next update is going to be. But like I said, they even made another article talking about what to expect in the next points update, which is very interesting. So moving on to this one now. As we mentioned in the Bologna recap, the next point update is scheduled for next week, and we'll take Phantom Revenge into account, which is awesome, thank God. So we'll take the next update will be based off the results of deck lists we received from tournaments, starting with those at YCS Pittsburgh. Thank you everyone who has been submitting deck lists. Keep them coming. Yep. Keep the more data they have, the better. The more feedback they get, the better. All the census data is great. Just keep giving them information. And the more information that they get, the better. The more they can change the format for the better. But all the information is useful. We keep looking forward into what the heck everyone is building. Emoji, by the way. Emoji in an actual Konami blog article. Love to see it. Shout out to whoever wrote this, because this is very, very funny seeing an emoji in here. Once again, adjustments fall into several categories. I like the way these categories are broken up. For those of you who don't know, for the last adjustment, they actually broke the categories up into seemingly why they were hit. That was the way they were broken up. So there was a section for cards that seemed to be for like gross combos, like FTKs or hand rips and things of that nature. Then the next one seemed to be for like metagame. Then the next points adjustments seemed to be for like ban cards that were being adjusted and things of that nature. Like they had them broken down kind of nicely, and it was really nice. So I hope that they keep it in that way. Severe performance outliers. This includes cards both on a deck level and individual level. For example, Draco Tail's performance as a deck since October puts it in line for increases, and Droll and Lockbird's performance as an individual card puts it in line for increase as well. More so in North America than in Europe, which is interesting. Again, Europeans seem to play different cards than North American players. It is interesting. I honestly, I couldn't tell you why, but I think it's really interesting that that's happened. It's always been that way. As always, this is the most important criteria and fundamental principle of Genesis. Cards seeking excessive play and their costs go up. Other cards come down while keeping OTKs boxed out. Everything listed below is just part of our initial ongoing early access tuning. Once we exit early access, it will be a bit different, and we'll talk a lot about that in the long-term Genesis plans soon, and those plans are pretty extensive. I'm very excited to see what their plans are, because to be honest, right now, I actually like the way they're doing it. I actually like the once-a-month points adjustment with the blogs talking about what's getting hit, what their stuff is seeing, how much feedback they're getting, and all of this nature. I actually like the way they're doing it now, so I'm really curious of how it's going to change after early access. To put it another way, everything we listed below is going to be a performance outlier unless we hit it now. That's what early access is all about. Setting up the initial points list. Once we exit early access, the purely census approach will take over more. Although we'll still need to assign some points to new cards right out the gate, which isn't perfect. See branded below. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to mention that now because branded players are not happy with Genesis right now. The deck is almost unplayable. On to the categories. Also, to note, categories are important because they're a guideline and things we need to watch out in the future when assigning preliminary points to new sets before they come out. As you know, even the last core set that came out, they hit cards before they came out. Very happy they're doing that. They need to keep doing that, and obviously they are. They're going to maintain that precedent that they already set. Cards that tech the deck or extra deck. We mentioned Winnnig last time, but this category also includes Heka Hands, Cool Tune, and Cool Tune. Oh, yeah, I forgot they changed the name of these. From Phantom Revenge, all of which proactively strike out or steal cards from the deck and extra deck, so we're hitting them in advance. Very interesting. I actually don't think hitting certain cards from the deck or extra deck is that broken, because like you're not looking in their extra deck. Like I don't think Cool Tune. I think Cool Tune is random. Yeah, you can hit like a really juicy card sometimes, but like I don't know. Like I don't know if that's is that like the reason I want it hit? I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I would much rather hit, like, the Cool Tune that's, like, a tour guide in their deck, or the Quick Play spell that's, like, searching and then synchroing, rather than the card that's only being hit because it rips out of extra deck. That card's it's just a little odd choice, in my opinion, but, whatever it is. Cards that multiply extensively. Dodo Warrior is a poster card for this category. Anyone who knows me knows Onomat is ridiculous, and this deck needs to get hit. It is crazy. So good, and needs to get hit extensively because the way this deck operates, you can't have any single interruption to beat it. It's the problem. You can have Imperm, Warner, Veiler, Ash Blossom, Purge, any of those. It doesn't matter. The minute they go have level 4, another level 4, and one of them is an Onomat card, they are playing through your one interruption every time, no matter what. And that just feels bad. And at that point, that's the feeling of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't think that's the feeling that they want in Genesis. That's the problem I have with Onomat. Cards that insulate turn 1 combos. In Pittsburgh, players started grabbing towards cards like Crossout Designator and Traptrix Aphasia that help you force through your turn 1 combos even if your opponent has a way to respond. The price of these kinds of cards at the moment is a bit too much of a bargain for how much you stand to gain. Basically, the counters to the counter should be more expensive than the counters themselves. We might need to go into this more in another article. Now, this is interesting because this is how they're seeing the format and how they want to develop it. So they're saying that the problem is the counters to be able to push through these broken combo decks. So things like the Crossout and Called by the Grave are more problems than cards. Either the Crossout and Called by are more of problems than both hand traps such as Ash Blossom, Fuaros, and things of that nature, and the power level of the game. So the combos that these decks are doing, like they could have said, hey, the Onomat deck that's making like 8 interruptions off of one card is a problem, and we need to address that. Not that it's using Crossout and Called by to push through this combo. I think that the board is the more like the first thing that's happening to force this problem to happen. I think that's the problem, in my opinion. The ceiling of one card combos is too high, which it seems like they're hitting it anyway. But I don't necessarily agree that the counter of the counter is the biggest problem in this chain reaction. I think that the opening line of the power level of these cards is the end-all problem for this happening. Because if the power level is lower, you probably wouldn't even have players play cards like this because they would allocate their points into either engine cards, most likely, or non-engine to stop their opponent, and not even have the points available to even use the counter of the counter, or your opponent's not even using counters at all because they can just use board breakers instead, and then your opponent kind of has to play an actual guessing game of what's better, board breakers or hand traps. I feel like that's kind of where the format should be, not where it's always just hand traps. That's kind of where I want to be. Towers monsters. Very funny, they actually mentioned Towers monsters here, i.e. monsters are pretty much immune to other card effects. Likewise, we're going to crank up the cost of monsters like Winnnig Tiger, Liger Dancer, and Super Quantum Mechanic Great Magnus, so that you have fewer points to give them back up. Excellent, great choice. These decks are so boring. I hate Winnnig. Like Winnnig is just so unfun. Just like The minute you see it, you just know what you're fighting. You're not fighting the Luna Light deck, you're fighting Liger Dancers. And the fact that it can play non-engine and heavy polymerization too is just bonkers cards. Like the fact that they can use thrust to get heavy poly is so frustrating. Readjusting extra deck monsters that get you another card. Separate from ones that cheat out another extra deck monster, these are ones that just get you another card in some way. Gaga Gaga Girl and Wind Up Carriers and Marty both are cards in this category. Okay, Girl is 0 points, and this card needed to be points like 8 years ago. Or actually 8 years ago. The format's only been like so long. I'm just exaggerating, hyperbole here. But yeah, I'm like shocked this card wasn't points off the rip. But is it Mighty? Mighty's like 30 points, I think it is right now. This card's like unplayable. And like no one is using this like at all. Like I've seen like one deck use this, maybe. Yeah, like Mighty's fine. I don't think that this needs to go up in points. If anything, like I think windups could use some help in the scenario here. Themes that weren't tempting. This is kind of interesting that they have this as a section. Last time we reduced the points of some themes that were popular initially, but not or popular internally, but not externally. We'll do some again this time. Dragon Maid, Sword Soul, Tenyi, Snake Eyes, let's go, Ninjas again, and maybe Centurion and Six Samurai. Oh, they're trickier. Understandable from Centurion and Six Samurai. These are definitely decks that can completely take over Genesis if they're too abusable. Six Samurai especially. This deck can be ridiculous. But Centurion too, it just gets very consistent and very scary if they give them too much leeway. So I completely understand the hesitation between these two. But like, there's like some of these decks, like they're really bad without certain cards. Like Dragon Maid is like so hit on so many of the cards. Nick was saying like, what's it called? Oh my God. Safer Dragon being like an crazy amount of points. It's like, why is that hit so high? Like Safer doesn't need to be hit. Like there's no link monsters. We can't do anything crazy with it, which I agree. I do think some of these hits are out of fear, and they should be looking in the cards that are only hit because of link monsters and not because of how good they actually are in this format. Dragon Maid has some dragon cards in there that are kind of like that. Like the fusion guys are really cool, and I know they're hit. Sword Soul, this deck is something that could also be playable, but like a lot of the synchros are hit, so it's really hard. Tenyi, I'd like to see play. Snake Eye, I really want to play, but without link monsters, this deck is so bad. Bonfire, holy, that card needs to go down. So, like, realistically, I actually think Snake Eye cards could be like almost 0 points because Ash and Poplar are both points. They should be like 0 because there's no link monsters. You can't get rid of Flamebirds. You can't get rid of Poplar. Like it's hard to do these things like to accomplish them. So like get it out of here. Like I don't know. Just let these decks be playable because they're unplayable in their current state. If I'm being real. Even the Snake Eye combo I made as a previous video, that's only like 2 interruptions or like 3 interruptions. That was just, and I had to work really hard to make a combo work for Snake Eye. It was rough out here, dude. That was a labor of love. It was terrible to do, but it was like, again, like I wanted to make it work and I made it work in some capacity and I was proud of that. But to see it hopefully go down, I'm excited for. Reweighting some point distributions. An example of this is the adventure cards, where Rite of Aramasir and Water Enchantress of the Temple are 5 each, while the high-spec Wandering Griffin Rider is at 20. Gladiator, Beast, and Christian cards are also being looked at for this. Okay, I'm kind of interesting, because Christian's a dangerous one, because obviously it's a synchro strategy, and they can do a lot, especially with the new Christian cards. They're really good. I'm curious what they're going to do for those. I was playing Christian a lot, so I'm really interested to see what they do with this. Gladiator Beast is so... I just need a blog post that says, this is why Gladiator Beast was 8,000 points. Because I need answers, man. Konami internally was cooking with Glad Beast way too hard, and they annihilated this deck, and I just don't know why. A more high-profile case is Branded, where the Fallen and the Virtuous came out, and we figured everybody would want to play it in 3s, obviously. So we balanced things by putting up the extra deck monsters. From what we were hearing, most Branded players would have been perfectly happy with just playing 1 or 2 copies of their new spell cards and would have preferred the extra deck cost to stay where they were. So we're going to make that correction. That's awesome to hear. Being able to, Branded has to play all of their Branded names, all their fusions. So, like, the cost of playing one of their spell, like, pretty much the Branded deck got Omega punished for this card coming out, it's just an oversight, right? It's a complete oversight, and they even talk about it. This is an example of how when we hit cards before they're out, we might guess wrong sometimes, but we're happy to correct that in the next list. Again, I'm so happy that they could just admit to a mistake. This is a huge plus. Thank you, Konami or whoever wrote this. Very appreciative, because Branded is like dead right now because it's just so many points. It's like unplayable. So like if this card will probably go up in points, like an individual standpoint. And then the fusions will go down to still be able to play Branded, essentially, because the deck got so punished for this card coming out. It was so unfortunate. Generic housekeeping. There are several handy generic cards that are almost no one is using at their current values that will drop. We're also still figuring out how to gradual to make these declines. If a card isn't played, but then drops to 0, suddenly everyone would play 3. And then you just have yo-yos back and forth. There's a sweet spot somewhere. I agree. And this is what I was talking about. Every time I make a video and you guys call me crazy, this is like my biggest hot take. I always bring up Delinquent Duo. That card cannot be 100 points. That is not a 100-point card. I literally think it's like a 33-point card. You want to play Delinquent Duo? Fine. It's an unsearchable 3 of in your deck. That's all you get to play, though. You have nothing else in your deck, but you have 3 Delinquent Duo. I don't think that's good enough in Genesis. I don't think it will. I still don't think people would play it, if I'm being honest. But you guys call me crazy. But we'll see. I hope that they make changes. That's just my example of a card that is a completely overhit, unsearchable power spells. Do not need to be hit to 100 points. It's just my opinion. Way too high. Like, they want to see these cards be played. Clearly, they want to see different stuff be played. That is, to me, that is what we are seeing. They want to see these cards be played to some extent, and they're trying to find the sweet spot somewhere. I like hearing that. That makes me happy. They don't want to keep banned cards unplayable. They want them to have a sweet spot of, like, if you want to play them, you are going to need to make sacrifices. So overall, I'm happy to see that this is how they're going about it. The next update after this one will happen around the release of Burst Protocol, so there are no official large-scale Genesis between then and now. So the primary purpose of this update will be to add points to cards releasing in Burst Protocol and adjust other cards based on the addition of Burst Protocol. Okay, so they're going to hit the Albaz Tuner and Synchro, because there's no way those cards are coming out free. That'd be crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Burst Protocol. It's got to be hit. These cards, the Burst Protocol has a lot of really good cards for Genesis, so they're definitely going to get hit. So I'm excited for that, but we're nowhere near there right now. Overall, I'm very happy to see, they mentioned so many different things. Like, this points list is going to be huge. Really, really exciting stuff. It hopefully comes out on Monday, the 15th. Again, they mentioned so many good things. The Automat cards were mentioned. Radiant Typhoon was mentioned. Runic was mentioned. Draco Tail was mentioned. The Towers monsters were mentioned. Generic stuff be coming down, and other cards going up. The only thing that I disagree with was this part here about what the problem is. I don't agree with the counters to the counters being the problem. That's just me. I think it's a power scaling thing. If a deck is playing the counters to the counters, that deck's too strong. If your deck is consistent enough and doing that much where you are trying to insulate your combo that heavily, your deck is too good. There is an outlier in the Genesis format in itself, and I think that is more of a problem than the counters to the counters than called by and cross out. So that is just my opinion, but I am curious to know what you guys think down below. So that is going to do it for the video. I know this was an extremely long video, almost an hour long, but if you needed to catch up on Genesis, this was the way to do it. Again, so much to catch up here. I'm super excited for the point adjustment list happening hopefully on Monday. And again, all of these deck lists that we went over, especially like the Vanquish Soul and the Draco Tail ones, great innovations. I hope that these decks are still playable after the point adjustments. Draco Tail, I really like. I wish I knew about this earlier. I think I might have played this. It was really, really cool. It just seems fun to use, so maybe I'll give this a try myself. But yeah, I'm really excited for the future of Genesis. So if you guys enjoyed, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Play Genesis format. Give Konami some insight. And if you know any of these other deck lists, please post them online. Just for data purposes, I think a lot of people just want to see what is winning these decks and these competitions for Genesis. And I think it would help the community a lot. So that's pretty much it, guys. I will see you in the next video after the point adjustments. Bye, guys.